Let's briefly talk about foreign affairs. Why did you call Hamas and Hezbollah your friends?
What I did was spoke at a meeting in which I said I wanted all people involved in the Middle East issue to come together and be able to have a discussion, to be able to discuss. Can you allow me to finish? Do you mind?
Yeah, but I asked you a question and you're ignoring it.
No, I'm not ignoring the question. If you'd give me a minute, I'll answer it. The point is this. Listen for a minute, if you don't mind. I spoke at a meeting about the Middle East crisis in Parliament, and there were people there from Hezbollah, and I said I welcomed our friends from Hezbollah to have a discussion and a debate. And I said I wanted Hamas to be part of that debate. I have met Hamas in Lebanon, and I've met Hezbollah in this country in Lebanon. I've also met...
So are they your friends or not?
Can I finish?
Are they your friends or not?
Can I finish? I've also met...
Well, you can't if it's a long answer.
Look, the issue is this. You are not prepared to discuss the whole issue of the Middle East. You're not prepared to discuss the wider question. The wider question is Hamas, Hezbollah are part of a peace process. Even the former head of Mossad says that there has to be talks involving Hamas. I've also had discussions with people from the right in Israeli politics who have the same view, possibly, that the state of Israel should extend from the river to the sea, as it is claimed people from the Palestinian side do.
And I'm very happy for you to make all of that clear. But I'm saying you use these words, friends. Now, are you saying they're not your friends? Or are you saying they are your friends?
I'm saying that people I talk to, I use it in a collective way, saying our friends we're prepared to talk to. Does it mean I agree with Hamas and what it does? No. Does it mean I agree with Hezbollah and what they do? No. What it means is that I think to bring about a peace process, you have to talk to people with whom you may profoundly disagree. There is not going to be any peace process unless there is talks involving Israel, Hezbollah and Hamas. And I think everybody knows that.
But as you know, the controversy is around you calling them friends. And you've explained, I think, that when you said that, you didn't mean that they're friends. Is that fair?
I used it in a collective way at a discussion, and you're trying to trivialise the whole issue of the Middle East. You're trying to trivialise the whole discussion about how you bring about a long-term peace process.
I'm very happy to have long conversations with you.
Well, why don't we have them then?
And you've been on this programme talking about the Middle East many times.
Well, not very recently, actually. You haven't had me on for a long time.
But this quote about friends has surfaced, and that's what I was asking you about, and you've had your opportunity to...
Well, thanks for the tabloid journalism.
That's not tabloid journalism.
Yes, it is.
That's putting your own words back to you.
Tabloid journalism where you're evading. You were evading asking me to give an opportunity to discuss the wider issue of the Middle East.
Because
all you're interested in...
what I was going to ask you next was something rather more important.
No, it's tabloid journalism and you know it.
Well, it's absolutely not. I was asking you about your own words, and if you're not prepared to defend your own words, then that's fine.
I'm quite prepared to defend my own words. I've just done so.
I want to get on to a bigger aspect of foreign policy, which we could have done minutes ago had you just answered the question when I answered it, which is it noble, is it right to continue doing nothing to intervene in Syria?
I think the decision not to bomb Syria or to bomb Syria or not to bomb Syria is an important one. If we'd started bombing now, what would it achieve? Probably not very much. It would then be followed up by ground forces and we'd then be back into a war. I think the issue has to be choking off the arms supply and the money that goes to ISIL, recognise where ISIL have come from, and also recognising, I think there was quite a big mistake in not reconvening the Geneva conference involving Iran, which could have helped to bring about a much earlier point of ceasefire in the other part of the Syrian civil war, that is between the government of Syria, Free Syrian Army and the Kurdish forces, as opposed to the ISIL forces, which have grown significantly in the past year. I don't think British intervention by military means is going to bring about a solution to it. I think there has to be ultimately a political solution. I think we also need to look at the role that Saudi Arabia and other countries are playing in the arms they're putting into the area.
So you think Ed Miliband was right?
Yes.
To end that chance of military intervention when he did?
Indeed, I was...
Despite the fact so many people have died and ISIS have taken hold...
Would military intervention have brought that about? Because indeed, those that were advocating we intervened at that time were very unclear on which particular group in Syria we're then going to support. There were people already fighting in Syria who later became part of the ISIL forces. Would we have been actually supporting ISIL forces? Nobody can really answer that question. It was very unclear what the strategy was.